Hi Curious, let's be honest, the fights between the Kardashian-Jenner sisters are nothing new. It happens at least once per season, so this new feud between Kylie and Kendall shouldn't surprise anyone. Though it seems that maybe this time the sisters aren't even talking with each other. Kendall was even left without a birthday greeting from her younger sister. But were they the only two involved in this argument? Did the momager's boyfriend Kourtney play a part in the fight that will have the eyes of all gossipers of the world on them? You know, the kind of thing that only these famous sisters are capable of. Curious, what happened? If you want to know, then stay with me until the very end, but before we continue, don't forget to hit the bell and subscription button so you don't miss any of our videos. All the excitement began when Kendall was visiting the family home in Palm Springs. It turns out that she didn't imagine that they were going out to a party, so naturally didn't bring any extra clothes with her. Now you're probably sitting here thinking, yeah, so what? They have millions of billions of dollars. Couldn't they work it out any other way? Well, it seems not. In fact, you'll see that things got pretty heated. Okay, so you see, Kylie had a dress on loan from Kourtney, and that's when things started to shake up because Miss I didn't bring any spare clothes, was planning on wearing it. She then began to say that everyone just bows and curtsies to Kylie and not to her. Classic sisterly jealousy, don't you think? Kylie then started to ask her sister not to ruin her night, and Kendall, who was already quite irritated, answered that if she could destroy her night, then she could do it back. How vengeful and spiteful. Or what do you think? The youngest Jenner sister, on the other hand, seemed not to know or understand what the whole discussion was about. And Curious, believe me, this is just starting to get good. The Kardashian-Jenner sisters were on their way to a drag queen show. And as always, as for every occasion, the youngest of them all had to look absolutely and utterly divine. So imagine the model's fury at not being able to go dressed like she wanted to. Once at the show, Kendall started to get bored. Actually, even before they had arrived, might we add. And she was already falling asleep, so she stayed in the car, thinking that as soon as the show was over, Kylie and Kourtney would take her home to Beverly Hills. Okay, so take a deep breath because we're obviously still not done here with these sisters, so bear with me. When the show ended, Kim, Kris, Khloe and Kourtney were in one car while Kylie, Kendall and Kourtney were in another. As the model was about to give her address to her younger sister's driver, the makeup brand owner asked, "Why would I take you home, Kendall? I'm not going across town to drop you off. Nobody promised to take you home." To which Kendall said that she was the one who had promised to take her back. What do you think, guys? Wasn't Kylie being a bit unreasonable not to want to take her home in the middle of the night? In the other car, in which we had the Kardashian sisters along with Mama Kris, they listened attentively to the fight over the loudspeaker, and it was getting worse and worse. There were even slaps and all. Curious. You know the younger sisters don't look at each other when they fight. Do you remember when recently Kim and Kourtney fought? Well, we have a whole video in which we tell you about this other big fight of the clan. So click on the link above to watch that, but don't go just yet, we're slowly getting to the best part. Then we're back in the car with Kylie, Kendall and Kourtney. In the middle of the fight, the momager's boyfriend was begging the sisters to calm down, but the fire had already been lit and there was no firefighters to put it out. So Kylie decided to just leave her sister at a gas station. Can you imagine that? You're coming back home from a long trip, you pull over to fill up your car, and then you see Kendall Jenner just standing there all alone in the middle of the night. Sounds crazy, right? Luckily, the other sisters and her mom came to the rescue almost immediately. When she got into the car, Kendall was crying a river of tears. She couldn't believe that her sister and stepfather would just leave her like that. She told Mama Kris and her older sisters all about the unfortunate episode as if waiting for their approval, but also told them what Kylie did to her. And did you think that was it? Please, it's the Kardashian-Jenners we're talking about. The model also said that Kourtney had insulted her and got involved in a fight with her sister, and then also how Kylie put a cherry on top of it all by placing the heel of her shoe on Kendall's neck. Whoa, that really got somewhat violent, didn't it? Things truly did get out of hand. In her defense, the youngest of the clan said that she did it because her sister was the one who slapped her first. Kendall had said that the fact her sister had reacted in such a violent way was very upsetting to her, and she assured everyone at the time that she would never speak to her little sister again and never forget this episode. What do you think, Curious? Have the Jenner sisters spoken to each other again? Would you forgive your siblings for such a thing? On the other hand, the youngest sister said that it was just a misunderstanding and that things had gotten out of control. You don't say, Kylie. In a conversation that Kourtney and Mama Kris had, the older sister said, "It's just such a natural thing in our family. What everyone does if someone goes any way against what everyone else is doing, it just seems like they just attack." Kourtney was also referring to when she made the decision to retire from the famous reality show on Earth, and if you want to know more about that, then click on the link above. And now remember about the third guy involved in the fight, Kris' boyfriend's Kourtney. It turns out that later he decided to make some passes at the model after the altercation that they had, in which he had also been involved with. He called Kendall and said, "Hey, I got some NBA tickets," to which she immediately reacted, and in a very bad way. The model told him that she expected him to be the adult in the situation and that he had handled it all very badly. "Obviously you didn't choose a good time to call her, Corey." He then tried to tell her that the fight was between her and Kylie, but it seems that she doesn't forget her words and has a very good memory, and she reminded him that he had insulted her and yelled at her, and that of course he was involved in the fight. The star also added that he didn't even know how to say "I'm sorry." Oh, and yes, curious, there is more. You can see that man does not mess around either, otherwise he would not have conquered the momager. Corey got tired of listening to Kendall, and he told her that for years she was a rude person and that she apologizes for nothing and that she gets involved in one thing and now she has something else to go off about. Oh, Corey, you really don't know what you're getting into, do you? Later in the episode, he tried to extend an olive branch to Kendall in the form of NBA tickets, but the conversation quickly descended into another discussion between the couple after he refused to apologize. Things continued to heat up over the phone, and the two only ended up getting angrier and angrier with each other. So heated was the topic that Corey told the model that she was angry because he wasn't her bootlicker. And you can imagine that the conversation didn't end with any "I love yous." Far from it. He didn't see the need to apologize, as to him it wasn't anything bad. He just wanted things to be okay between them because of his relationship with her mother. And Kendall wanted him to apologize for his actions. In short, no one was happy. What about you, Curious? Who do you think is right in this situation? On the third side of the fight, Kylie said that she loved her sister and that it was just a misunderstanding and that everything had gotten a little out of control. A little? These sisters truly do have a very different definition of a little than most people. Besides, as she told Mama Kris, she believed that they both refused to give in and that they thought each of them was right. She added that they would work it out as they always do. Now, the million-dollar question, did Kylie call her then? Nope. In fact, I don't know if you remember, but November 3rd was Kendall's birthday. Yes, 2 days before Kris's, but that's not the point. Kylie didn't write any message on her social media pages, and some will say, well, what's wrong with that? If you take into account that each of the other sisters dedicated a post on their Instagrams with photos and everything, it was a bit of a low blow, especially with how close they always were. A week after the whole fight, in a conversation Kendall was having with her sister Chloe, she confessed that she was thinking of being more mature than Kylie and calling her, but she thought it would be good for her to grow up and realize that what happened was wrong. She added that they both have big egos, but that she was able to put it aside to do the right thing. And are they going to reconcile? Patience, Curious. Kendall, who a week after that terrible episode that separated her from her sister had said, "We can fight all we want and say crazy things to each other, but at the end of the day, we are family." And one question, did you think that was it? No. Curious, we always save the best for last. Chloe called the momager to talk about the situation between Kendall and Kylie and told her that the youngest sister had posted a photo with the other Jenner sister on her Instagram. So now they made up? Not quite. Kendall wrote in the comments to ask whether they weren't fighting anymore, to which Kylie responded that she only uploaded that picture just because her breasts looked good in it. Oh sheesh, another low blow for the model. Mom Kris had said she was very upset, as she is every time any of her children fight with each other, and she promised to contact Kylie to discuss the issue and try to resolve it. Also, the momager was worried about Kendall because she's the only one who doesn't have children, and with all this pandemic stuff she must be very lonely. So she just contacted the makeup brand owner and told her to fix this entire situation. And finally, the one who extended the olive branch was not Kylie, but Kendall. The model remembered a book that her younger sister gave her before the fight that actually talked about pride. What a topic for the Jenner sisters. Kendall said it was a paragraph from the book that made her think, because it talked about how pride is an extension of fear. So without further ado, she called her little sister. She didn't pick up the phone, but later called her back to say she was sorry for the misunderstanding and that she didn't mean to and never did to hurt her. Later speaking in the confessional, Kendall admitted that she missed talking to her sister because they talked to each other every day and that she was ready to end it. She said the sisters are sisters and you can fight all the time and talk nonsense, but at the end of the day, they are family and they love each other very much. So Curious, what do you think about the strong fight that Kendall and Kylie had? Did you ever go so long without talking to your siblings? Would you have stranded them at a gas station in the middle of the night? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you again next time.